Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to the City Boys Spotlight, where we go over all 30 MLS teams to make you a more knowledgeable fan and us the most knowledgeable MLS podcast. My name is Ethan, and I am joined by two of my best friends doing it. Jacob, how we doing tonight?
Dude, tonight, this episode, it's going to be a great one. Couldn't be more excited to talk this specific brand of ball with the two of you. So I'm ready to get into it. Grayson, brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Like you just mentioned, I've also been waiting eagerly for this spotlight, specifically to talk about one of my favorite clubs in the entire world. Guys, it's St. Louis City Day. Let's go. Let's go.
Come on. These St. Louis City Boys are finally covering St. Louis City SC. Now, not even the MLS's newest club. We are old news in comparison to San Diego FC, but the passion is burning just as strong as year one, boys. I cannot wait to get into this episode. Without further ado, who has got the history of this great club? Tell us all about it, please, Jacob.
Well, the history of this club is deeply rooted with fans, friends, city goers alike in St. Louis. But it is my honor and pleasure to bring you a concise, wink, wink, breakdown of the city history. For our returning city fans, none of what I'm going to say is going to be news. So if you just want to jump to the current roster breakdown part, I won't be too upset. But
I will be. But Jacob,
I appreciate that. But for our non-St. Louis City fans here to learn a little bit about St. Louis City, there's no better place to start than the 1950 U.S. men's national team, who beat England 1-0 in the World Cup. That team had 5 St. Louisans on the starting 11. And also, fun fact, I did learn this today. They were coached by a St. Louisan as well. So 6 St. Louisans beat England in a World Cup match in 1950. That's where it starts. I would be remiss if I didn't give their names praise as well right here. Frank Pee Wee Wallace, Gino Periani, Charles Colombo, Frank Borghi, and Harry Kyo, as well as their St. Louis head coach, Walter Geisler. St. Louis has also produced way too many players since then. I'm going to name a few, so buckle up. Currently, names you'd recognize are Tim Ream, Josh Sargent, Taylor Twellman, Brad Davis, U.S. Women's National Team World Cup winner, champion Becky Sauerbrunn, World Cup winner Lori Chalupny, the original Captain America Al Trost, and the one and only Pat McBride. Literally, to just name a few, if you Google it, the list is so long.
It's massive. We also currently Patrick Schulte.
Yeah.
He's on the national team.
St. Louis breeds champions. There are 3 of them on the screen right now. Deep cut. Anyways, we will fast forward to 2016 when St. Louis put in its first bid to have an MLS team and to build a stadium right next to Union Station. Unfortunately, that bid got denied. But just like St. Louis culture, we did not give up. In 2018, led by Carolyn Kindle, the current majority owner of the team, launched a bid. In 2019, MLS granted St. Louis a franchise for a whopping $200 million expansion fee.
Chump change.
Originally, the team was planned to debut in 2022, but good old COVID pushed us back to 2023. So finally, we had a stadium in St. Louis, in downtown St. Louis. A gorgeous stadium. If you haven't made it to City Park, make it out to City Park. I've yet to make it there. I will be making it there. Anyways, moving on. 2023 would be the first year since 1977 had a top division club in Greater St. Louis, played in the first tier of U.S. soccer. 1977, boys, was the last time we had a professional team to root for. The last team was the St. Louis Stars, who played in the North American Soccer League from 1968 until 1977, and the Old National Professional Soccer League in 1967. I mentioned her previously, but Carolyn Kindle and Co. are the only majority women ownership group in MLS and one of few in all sports worldwide. And personally, I do take pride in that. I think that is a very, very cool part of our history.
Definitely.
Moving forward to actual product on the field. In City's first season, they broke a league record of 5 straight wins to start a season by an expansion team. Eventually went on to win the Western Conference and almost broke the record for points by an expansion team. We would then go on to lose to Sporting Kansas City in the playoffs. Then, in our second year, we had the sophomore slumps of all sophomore slumps.
Mm.
We were riddled with injuries. Our manager honestly couldn't figure out how to win a game to save his life. And to be fair, it wasn't all his fault. He did not have all the pieces to the puzzle available to him.
Brutal.
We did make some signings late in the season and attempted to try to make a playoff run, but we fell short. And mark my words, we will be back on the mountaintop. Ethan, you're going to tell me why.
Jacob, you're damn right I am, because we have a current squad that, in my opinion, is S tier. All right. We have easily one of the best squads in the MLS. And I'm going to tell you why. Starting at the very back with number 1, Roman Berkey, the man on my scarf. He is unbelievable in the net. MLS goalkeeper of the year in 2023. The Messi mind blower in 2024. He is really like that. Not to mention the back 4 or back 3 potentially this upcoming season has gotten a lot more solid. Henry Kessler, Timo Baumgartel, and Giannis Horn, in my opinion, are the highlights of our defense. We do have an injury right now with Jay Reed, but I feel really confident that our defense is going to be holding it down. Moving into the midfield, we have our maestro, one of the most handsome men in the MLS, Edu Lovin, number 10. The man just sits back, pulls the strings, but he scores some bangers.
Yeah.
Oh, the man himself. Also featuring in the midfield, the man that does the dirty work, Chris Durkin. You will see this man at the top of distance covered no matter what game he is playing in. He has an engine on him. Of course, leading the lines, Joao Klaus, the big Brazilian man.
Yeah.
Also on the back of the City Boys jersey. Now, Jacob, you mentioned some new signings that we made last season, and this is the time to talk about them because Cedric Toikert and Marcel Hartel are 2 MLS MVP caliber players. When they arrived, they made a huge splash in their first season, and I genuinely cannot wait to see an entire season of the 2 of them bolstering our attack. We've talked about it before. We've done our way too early predictions already, but we expect the most out of this squad. We genuinely believe that Marcel Hartel or Cedric Toikert are MVP caliber players. Who sticks out to you guys on this squad? There's so many names.
I think for me, right off the bat, I gotta show some love to a player who went through a terrible injury in the 2024 season after coming out on fire. That man is Celio Pompeu. I sang his praises all through 2024 because he couldn't be there to show us on the pitch the entire year what he's capable of. But I have no doubt in my mind that he will be back to his best in this 2025 season. And Celio Pompeu will leave a mark on the left wing for St. Louis City this year.
I stand by this, and I will always stand by this. I bought his jersey for this reason. This team goes as Edu Lovin goes. We are making it or breaking it based off of his performances. We couldn't win without him last year. We're barely able to win with him in the midst of all of our injuries, and now he's going to have a full complement of players around him to just play quarterback in the center of that park. Diamond passes, cross field, putting through balls in, knocking dudes over to win 50-50s. This team is
Yeah.
going to win on the back of the man that's on my back. I do love him.
It's hard to argue, Jacob. I love that endorsement of our man and some other names that I have to mention. There's so many. Indiana Vasilev got his first start with the U.S. men's
Dog.
national team in January, and certainly a player to watch in the MLS. I believe that Thomas Totland is
Dog.
one of the best outside backs in the league. And I'm gonna finish up here with Simon Betcher.
Dog.
Just a very under the radar kind of player. I think he doesn't get as many headlines as Hartol or Toiker, but he will bag almost as many goals. You mark my word.
Yeah, I think Jacob definitely describes Betcher the best. He is a dog in every sense of the word, tracking down the balls over the top, hounding defenders when they're holding on the ball too long. I have no doubt that Betcher is going to top his goal tally from last season, and I definitely think he will earn the full-time purchase of Betcher next season. But any other players we can talk about? Because I think it's time for a little prediction game. All right, City fam. It's good to be back with the best fans in the MLS. It's time for another game of Crossbar, a game of overs and unders, playing with our own team here, so this could be a little tricky. Shot number 1, the crossbar is set at 10. This past season, St. Louis forgot that we play to win games and attempted to have the most draws in the MLS. And we came in second place to one team, the New York Red Bulls, who had 14 draws on the year. St. Louis had 13. With hopefully a tighter defense and an even more potent offense set at 10 draws, the crossbar is set at 10 draws. Do you think St. Louis is going to bury it or sky it?
I'm burying that. We are getting less than 10 draws, and we are shifting those draws over to the W column. I feel like a lot of St. Louis's draws came from dropping winning positions. We would be up in games, and we would end up tying. For example, the Portland game, 3 different times we lost the lead, and we ended up drawing. I think we convert a lot of those draws into wins with our goal talisman. So I'm banging the under on draws.
I'm trying to be more critical because last year my predictions were quite lofty and it did come back to bite me. I'm actually just gonna smash the crossbar. I think we might get exactly 10 draws. What I see in the point swing for our team this year is the loss column is gonna look a lot thinner than the win column.
Okay.
But our draw column is still going to be there because we might go down early in games and teams are going to park the bus because we're high possession and we're going to be banging shots left and right down people's throats. So we might just be coming back from losing positions as opposed to losing winning positions. So I'm going to go with bang on 10 draws.
Okay.
I think it's a really good shout, especially with all the talk we've seen this offseason about St. Louis kind of shifting into a more controlling mindset when it comes to the ball, holding on to the ball longer, dictating more of how the game's actually going to work. So that's another prediction. I think we are going to see a much more possessive St. Louis City side this year. Shot number 2. The crossbar is set at 2. This is an interesting one. So last season, St. Louis's ferocious high press resulted in St. Louis leading the league in fouls per match with 14.5 fouls per game. And the refs noticed, issuing St. Louis 90 yellow cards, tied for the second most in the league. Surprisingly, though, St. Louis only received 1 red card issued to Marcanic. Can Olaf bring more discipline to this side, or will our high press and our emotions get the best of us, resulting in more red cards this season? With the crossbar set at 2 red cards, are we skying or burying that?
I'm gonna two-part this one. What did you say our yellow card tally was at?
90 yellows.
Okay, I am skying the over on yellows.
Yeah.
I think this team is full of dogs. We're gonna be more disciplined, but I eat, breathe, and sleep a 2-foot tackle, bro. I love to see a good, solid Brexit level chop.
Mhm.
And if my boys in City Red are doing it, it makes me that much more excited. So I'm gonna sky the over on yellow
Wow.
cards. We're gonna have a lot more yellow cards, but once we get the yellows, we're gonna be calm, cool, collected. The correct, proper subs are gonna be made so that people don't get red cards. And I'm gonna take the under on red cards this year.
Okay.
I hope Olaf proves me wrong and man manages the team extremely well, but I'm actually going to take the over on red cards. I think that we get more than 2 red cards due to that passion and fire. And honestly, I don't hate it. The only thing that I would really hate to see is Roman Berkey getting a red card.
Mm.
Everything else, I think I will let slide. Defender, unless it's very stupid red cards, double yellow, cool, and no attempted injuries. All right, but
Yeah.
I think we do have the kind of squad that we will see players like Giannis Horn potentially getting 2 yellows. Potentially Chris Durkin gets 2 yellows this season. I would not be surprised. All right.
Yeah. I was very surprised that it was only Marcanic who was issued a red, and it was a straight red, if I'm not
I remember it.
mistaken. Yeah. So that's an interesting take. I do think, yeah, there's a couple players I could see more likely to get those kind of fouls. Um, I remember distinctly the one red card that we had against us was Martin Caceres when Sam Adeniran had the breakaway to almost bury the win at LA Galaxy in our first matchup, but we ended up tying thanks to a late goal. So that's pretty topical. That's what we were just talking about. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take the over as well. I think St. Louis, I think we are gonna be more disciplined this year, but I think we are extremely lucky to get away with one red card the entire season. I think that's absurd. All right, for more of a fun note here, we got shot number 3 to finish off the hat trick here. St. Louis City SC has been slowly overridden by Germans, but trust us, we're not complaining. Just for the end of the season, we got to see a glimpse of what magic they can produce for us. Marcel Hartl with 10 goals. 10 goal Jesus Christ. 10 goal contributions in only 13 matches. And Cedric Touchert with 11 goal contributions in 14 matches. If we get to see the full season in City Red, how many goals will these two combine for? The crossbar is set at 30 goals. Remember, last year, we scored 50 goals, period. How many can these two players combine for?
I'm taking the over. 15 goals for each one of Marcel Hartl and Cedric Teuchert almost feels like the minimum. They had 5. Each of them scored 5 in 8 roundabouts. So I'm feeling very good on 30 goals for our German boys.
And this is all contributions. So this also includes their assists.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking the over. Just without question. I know I said I need to be more critical, but it's hard when
It
you
is
look at the
very
two of them
difficult.
on the field together. I mean, Hartle was playing most of the end of the season with an injury as well, and like kept dogging it out, kept bagging goals and assists. Toyshirt is just so silky smooth with his play. He's either gonna draw a foul in the box or he's gonna bury a bottom corner. Yeah, over. Smash the over.
I'll take that. That was Crossbar, ladies and gentlemen. So for the final question of the episode, where is Olaf taking us in this 2025 season? Are we clinching playoffs? Are we competing for the cup? Are we in the bubble? Or are we back to the bin?
I feel very safe calling St. Louis City SC a playoff caliber MLS team. I am a little hesitant from saying that they'll contend for the playoffs just because we still have a first year head coach, and based on last year's season's results, that just feels like a home team bias. But I do confidently feel like we can compete for the playoffs. I think that we will convert some of those draws into wins and easily see our way in as a top 6 seed.
Mm.
The West is very stacked. It is hard to make the playoffs in the West, and it's going to be really hard because the MLS Cup is going to be flowing through St. Louis. I think we are one of the top contenders in the league and should maintain home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And then you're going to have to come take it from us in the final. We are a contending team, and we're going to show it to you in year 3.
Tell him, Jake. Tell him.
I'm about it. I'm about it. I think that's a great way to end the episode on that hype. Call to action. St. Louis City, you heard the man. Let's make it happen.
Actually, real quick, before we do, I want to show love to STLFC, our USL predecessor to STLSC.
RIP. RIP. To all the St. Louis soccer teams that came before and paved the way for this great club, we're forever grateful. St. Louis Steamers, I'll never forget you. I loved you. I loved you. Ambush. Hey, I still fuck with you. I still fuck with you.
They're embarrassingly bad.
They're pretty rough, but
anyways, ending this episode out on the high before we get into the lows. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you're new around here. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure you follow and rate 5 stars. And most importantly, do not forget to tell your mother you love her. Peace.
STL.
STL.
we had to bring it back. There we go.